It is almost NFL draft season, which can only mean one thing. It's almost best ball season. We are back, baby, back and ready to rip some drafts. I'm Graham, joined by Thomas and our new guy, Mark Garcia, who goes by at HiLowFF, who's flying F-18s out in Arizona. Hopefully he's helping us fly this ship to the top of the leaderboards. Mark Garcia, he runs basically the entire best ball product over at OWS. He's going to be doing some best ball content for us here at FantasyPoints. He's going to be joining me pretty much every single week and Thomas and a host of guests every week to draft on Underdog. Mark, thanks for joining us, man. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, man. Likewise. I know we were just talking offline. It's like we've had this kind of not even a working relationship, but we've been aware of each other for quite some time, pinging things back off of each other for a while. But this is the first time seeing your face in person. So happy to be here, man. I am stoked and ready to contribute in the best way that I know how to, man. And that is best ball. Let's do it, dude.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you brought the good luck tonight, Thomas. You brought the good luck because we got the 101. We're on the clock in 3, 2, 1 as we speak. I would assume we're going to go with McCaffrey, and we'll just keep it rolling and draft some receivers. A lot of badges in this draft as we expected, but 101, Mark, you brought the good luck. We'll take CMC. Just kind of frees us up for running back for the rest of the draft. I've been more of a zero RB drafter, Mark, for quite some time, but McCaffrey pretty much shoved that down everybody's throats last year that wasn't drafting him, in the top 5, top 6. He's the now consensus 101, much like Ronald Acuna was the 101 for baseball this year. McCaffrey is the 1.1. Do you have any qualms with McCaffrey at 1, or are you just taking him there?
No, there's a lot of theory that goes in behind like that discussion. Like I'm of the opinion that fluidity is king in best ball, and that takes into account so many things. But the paramount thing that we're thinking about here is variance. Variance drives so much of kind of how we construct a portfolio in best ball, how we construct rosters. And variance is, like in layman's terms, is just like the stuff that we cannot control, right? And we're already playing an extremely variant game. We're also considering in stuff like when we're talking about variance, we're considering like the state of the contest we're playing in. So these top heavy contests where the payout tables are extremely heavy on the top 5, 6 spots, that is variance as well. So we need to be like understanding this idea of variance and how we manipulate it when we're constructing our rosters, when we're building our portfolio. And in the first first 2 rounds, a lot that we're considering under that umbrella of variance is like injuries and not just like to the player, but like to like, what if Brock Purdy goes down? An injury to Brandon Ayuk would affect CMC. An injury to, Deebo Samuel. Well, maybe not Brandon Ayuk. We'll see how that goes. But you get the pictures. Like there's so much stuff that we can't control. And I want to kind of allow the first couple rounds to not necessarily spread my exposure, because there are going to be guys in that top area that I'm not drafting or that I want to be overweight on. But just kind of allow the board to come to you in those first couple rounds. There is a lot of game theory stuff that we can talk about. Probably not going to get into it now in those first couple rounds. But yeah, I kind of want to be looking to spread my exposure, spread my portfolio. And on average, if everything is perfect, you're only going to get that 1.01 on 8.3% of your teams. So it just makes sense. Don't fight it, man. I'm just going to take McCaffrey there.
Don't fight the Fed. Don't fight McCaffrey. Those are the 2 life laws to live by. McCaffrey at 101, I'm with you. I mean, just don't get cute. There's so much unknown in best ball, like you said, and running back is just wide ass open. I think after you get past 6 or 7, and McCaffrey is one of those known quantities.
And so many guys are getting drafted at their absolute max ceiling this early too. I mean, realistically, the chances of you getting replaceable Christian McCaffrey, if you get peak Christian McCaffrey, right? There's a lot less likely than some of these receivers, or not being able to find some of these replacement receivers in the second and third round in comparison.
There's basically 4 running backs, I think. And Kyron Williams did it last year, but Jahmyr Gibbs would need an injury to David Montgomery to have that type of upside. And then I think Bijan and Brees Bijan and Brees have that upside, but obviously their offenses are just so much worse. Brees, Aaron Rodgers has a popped Achilles. He's 40 years old, and Kirk Cousins is coming off a popped Achilles of his own. But yeah, I think there's really like 4 players that have that type of upside. All right, boys, we're back nearly on the clock here. Receivers have ripped off the board as expected. Kind of an interesting pocket here when you go McCaffrey 1. Like I was saying, I'm typically drafting receivers, but it does leave you in this like kind of wide open range, Mark. Nico Collins, DJ Moore. Nico just wins. DJ Moore, Diggs, Malik Neighbors, Mike Evans, Jalen Waddle, Mike Pittman to draft from in this pocket. Do you have any of those guys that really like stand out to you?
To me, at this point, I'm probably going Mike Evans. He has the fewest amount of moving pieces. You look at DJ Moore, new quarterback. They added wide receivers, Stephon Diggs, new team, all kinds of target competition. So for me personally, I'm probably going Evans here, but this is in that equation where now we're starting to kind of massage the pieces a little bit. You don't have to be as confined to ADP once we're looking at the back end of the second round, the 2-3 turn, something like that. But for me on this spot, Mike Evans is the clear choice to me.
Yeah, Evans. So we'll take Evans here. I'm going to take, I'll take DJ Moore as our wide receiver.
Can I make an argument for Neighbors though?
Sure.
Because Marvin already went. Sure. I'll let you make your pick, but I'm gonna
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. Tell me why I'm wrong, please.
So it's not about that. It's that if you there's enough signal that people think Neighbors is wide receiver 1. And even let's say he, as he's been projected to goes to the Chargers, which would make all of us very sad. However, even in a Greg Roman offense, the wide receiver 1 is generally hyper efficient. We saw Marquise Brown with Lamar Jackson be insanely efficient. Wide receiver 1 stretches for 8-10 weeks at a time before injuries and everything stopped him. If Neighbors is him and Herbert is the best QB Greg Roman has ever had, we're possibly passing up, early round 2 here at the start of the 3rd round. And like you said, DJ Moore, talk about moving parts, baby.
Yeah,
they draft Rome at 9 and I want to run into oncoming traffic. Like there's still potential here to just be down in the worst way. So
yeah, I don't think Chicago drafts a receiver. I would be stunned at that.
Yeah.
What's very interesting
about Chicago too is DJ Moore and Keenan Allen have been so good at different things or opposite things, we'll say. I mean, like DJ Moore has been that absolute man killer. He's been that single high destroyer. Whereas Keenan Allen is that veteran guy who knows where to find those underneath that underneath presence against too high, that underneath presence against zone. So it's very interesting dynamic on that team now, to where in DFS, it should be a relatively, I don't want to say easy, but we should have more signals in picking between those two this season. And I think that DJ Moore and Keenan Allen are both draftable kind of where they're going. Some interesting game theoretics that we can get into there, but pairing them with their quarterback, who is highly likely, we kind of know who that's going to be in Williams. So there's some interesting dynamics with Chicago, and look at that division too. It should be competitive from top to bottom this season. So I'm not down on DJ Moore at all here.
Yeah, I like Moore quite a bit, and there's a chance that Keenan Allen, while he's an all-time great receiver, he's going to go to the Hall of Fame. Like, he could take a step back this year, and DJ Moore still is the clear 24-25% target share guy. I see you shaking your head, Thomas. What do you think?
Well, it's just CJ Stroud was dope last year, and a complete outlier. We're still talking about a rookie that still has to find a way to create that elite upside for multiple wide receivers, and then also fight against the insane run game that they're about to trot out there over and over and over again. Granted, new coordinator, but rookie quarterback, they're going to run the ball, 2 elite wide receivers, mouths to feed with what we know from rookie production. I get that we're spoiled. We've been spoiled with rookie quarterback play. I still can't assume. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I still can't assume that he's going to peak these guys up.
Well, I love your saying that it's like only God can scout quarterbacks, and there's a lot of truth in that. But I think Caleb Williams is truly like probably 55-45. Like, most quarterbacks are true like 50-50. I just can't get Caleb Williams out of structure, throwing deep balls to DJ Moore out of my
It's
head.
true. And also, can we just pour one out? We finally, like, especially as dynasty players, we waited and we waited and we waited, and we finally got wide receiver 1, like top 6 DJ Moore for 1 year. And then they're like, oh, by the way, new coordinator, new quarterback, Keenan Allen, have fun. It's just, I want to cry. We got him for 1 year.
It wasn't even 1 year, man. It was like 10 games. Whenever
Yeah,
whenever Fields was healthy. When it was Badgett, it was bad, man.
Yeah.
I guess that's my theory with Moore, right? Is like, if he can ball out that hard with Justin Fields, like, what can he do? Maybe we haven't seen his true ceiling. But at his best last year, he was like the wide receiver 3 in fantasy for extended amount of games. Tank Dell, man, the fall continues with him. He's down at 45 now, getting drafted well into wide receiver 3 range. Speaking of falling, Rashee Rice, with his pending legal issues ongoing, possibly getting suspended, he keeps falling in these drafts. I absolutely love him in this spot. If he gets to us, we're taking Rashee Rice. I'll go ahead and tell you.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably come back and maybe get Mahomes. Let's see how this goes here. We've got a bunch of 0 RB teams around us as well. We'll have to see how that goes here. Especially love drafting a quarterback, an elite quarterback early on teams where I have, like the seeker, Christian McCaffrey. So we'll take Rashee Rice here. Any objections to Mahomes with Rice?
Nope.
Okay, cool. Simple as that.
Sad that Kelsey just went, but
yeah, I would have taken Kelsey.
Yeah,
with Mahomes out of Rice for sure, but love that for this team here. So we got Mahomes, CMC, Mike Evans, DJ Moore, and Rashee Rice from the 101. Mark, I've been drafting. Well, this started last summer. I've been drafting Trey McBride more than like any person on the face of the earth, and I still feel like there's a lot of value in him at 50. Like, the Cardinals are probably going to draft Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah,
but still, I still think McBride, man, like, caught 80 balls last year. He's going to start all season. McBride to me is still a pretty nice value here. Where are you at on these kind of like mid-range tight ends right now? So that's like, McBride, Mark Andrews, Kelsey. You throw Kincaid in that mix now, especially that Diggs is gone. How do you have these guys in this like kind of 4th and 5th round pocket?
Yeah, it's tight end continues to be. I want to say it's like anything new, but tight end is one of the hardest positions in fantasy. Mark Andrews has been last 3-4 years the absolute zone destroyer for the Baltimore Ravens. He's also coming off a significant ankle injury from that hip drop tackle. We know that an injury to that magnitude can affect a player's efficiency up to 30%. So how does that come into play? We have Travis Kelce, who has, been the top 2 in targets at the tight end position for 5 years straight. That's unheard of. But he's getting older. How does that come into play? Trey McBride was extremely efficient against zone last season. He did not really have it yet in his repertoire, we'll say, against man. They don't necessarily have a player. Well, maybe Greg Dortch is that guy. His numbers against man last year were excellent, and I continue to be on the Greg Dortch train. But yeah, this is kind of it's this nebulous gray area. And I think at some point you have to make a stand. You have to be overweight some of these guys, right? Because we know the upside that Andrews has. We know the upside that McBride has shown in 2 years in the league, really like 1 in a little bit, because he didn't get much playing time his rookie season. And we know what kind of Travis Kelce has given us. So yeah, it's so hard to say right now. It's just kind of this like weird nebulous range of the tight end 4 or tight end 3 even through tight end 8, 9, 10. Like, where do you draw that tier break is kind of, I think, the most important discussion to be had there, because I see myself just mixing and matching throughout that tier, really.
Yeah, it's wide open, and I think it's kind of a linchpin spot, right? Because like, this is where receiver really starts to dry up. We're getting receivers pushed up the board more than ever, even more than last year. And then you mix in the fact that we got these, quarterbacks that go in this pocket. It's a really interesting range. I will say it does feel like, of the guys that are going in that pocket, Andrews and Kincaid are probably the 2 safest right now. Like, McBride's ADP could slip. Kelsey's ADP could slip when they draft a receiver. Same logic applies to Rashee Rice. But in that pocket right now, I think Andrews and Kincaid are probably the best overall like values in terms of projection and probably safety, margin of safety a little bit. But yeah, man, it just feels like, you know, Kincaid's getting pushed up, but he really might have the most upside of that entire group. I know I love Trey McBride. I've always been a Mark Andrews guy, but man, Kincaid in that offense, if they're really just going to lean on him as their clear number one, love that. All right, we're nearly back on the clock here. Top of the board by ADP. I guess I did not put my updated rankings in this. Just now noticed that. Whoops. Top of the board: Kamara, Addison, Deontay Johnson, Aaron Jones, Joe Burr, Evan Ingram. Ingram is.
I have two clear answers here. I don't know where you stand here. Deontay Johnson could be an absolute target monster in PPR this season in Carolina. I know it feels so gross, but his efficiency metrics through no less than like 4 quarterbacks that he's seen over the last 3 years have been phenomenal. And then, Evan Ingram is the other guy for me here.
See,
Ingram has been this too high cover 2 beater. But what kind of stuck out to me with Evan Ingram was his efficiency metrics last season against cover 3, which we know the league is kind of shifting more to. It was the most commonly utilized defensive coverage shell last season across the league. And he was able to put up some gaudy numbers against cover 3. I don't have them in front of me, but if you're interested in those, go check out my pieces that have dropped over at FantasyPoints if you haven't checked those out yet. But through the research this offseason, Evan Ingram really jumped off the page to me. Yeah.
Go check out the coverage Bible for sure that Mark posted in his debut. Mark, I'm with you on Ingram. He was my clear top choice there. And then for me, it was between Deontay and Addison, shooting for a little bit of upside, but we're talking about, you know, unknowns. Addison, obviously, quarterback is a massive issue. There's been some rumors today that they might just, you know, say, screw it, we're not going to trade for McCarthy at all. We'll just get one of these guys. Like, you know, they were linked to Bo Nix today. You know, I don't know, man. Jefferson is already the one. Hawkinson's always going to draw targets. I think Addison is in this tier for me, but I'm with you. Deontay is clearly ahead, and just the way this receiver board is going now, like that's the end of that tier for me is Deontay, and then I think Addison and Hopkins kind of start a new tier. Once you get past like McLaurin and Thomas and Godwin, I think Deontay's the clear end of that tier. Thomas, what were you going to say though? You had another opinion there?
A couple. I mean, I've been known to have. Look, if you like Addison, like if you really like Jahan Dotson, you're gonna really love Addison and how his year 2 plays out. And then I just wanted to shout out the man who's viewed like a cockroach, James Conner. I mean, we're talking about a guy who everyone just expects him to die every offseason, fall off a cliff. He can't do it anymore, and it's just like RB1. Oh, Dobbs. RB1. Kyler's back, RB1. Like, it just doesn't matter what kind of peasant-ish running back they kind of bring in. He's just the guy. So you're getting realistically an RB1 when he's on the field, when he's there. Multiple coaches.
They're not taking a peasant this year, bro. They're going to take somebody who matters this year, and they have so many picks to do it. I mean, they have 6 picks in the top 90. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, you were on Dynasty Points yourself and went with this entire class. I mean, I'm still going to be very confident in my guy here.
What I mean is they're going to take somebody who like actually has a little bit of draft capital as opposed to Keontae Ingram, who is like inherited by their previous staff. But no, I hear you. I've been on team James Conner for a couple years, but this does feel like the year to get out. I think between his age, between the likelihood the Cardinals drafted back, they might not though. They might say screw it. We'll just kind of tank it again.
You're doubting the Messiah. Okay. True. And I need you to, we got that on record.
Bro, it's going to be 2030 and James Conner is going to roll out of bed and finish with the RB9 and half PPR.
I love the relation to a cockroach too, because not even like nuclear radiation could slow this man down after his cancer. Like,
dude, no kidding. Yeah. He had the knee injury last year. He comes back and he looks better after the knee injury. Just a beast.
Yeah, it's insane what he's been able to do. But I just wanted to show him some love there, because if you're wanting a 0 RB situation, you can get the Aaron Jones James Conner.
Well, a big part of the reason I love, at least for these early drafts now, is a big part of the reason I love zero RB is just this entire running back pocket is bananas. Like from Ken Walker on, it's just bananas good. Like yes, these guys don't have Christian McCaffrey level upside. We don't need to quibble about that, but like absolutely have upside as, RB2's been, can sneak into the back half of, RB1 range. It's basically my entire draft strategy for the $3 drafts, the little boards and the big board was basically just take a shotgun to this running back tier in the 6, 7, 8 range, because like we were just talking about, the receivers really start to dry up, and there's just so many backs in this pocket as we're seeing fly off the board here. Connor is at the top, I think, of my ranks, if I remember correctly, ahead of Kamara and Aaron Jones. So I'm still in on the cockroach, Thomas. So we're still in. Somewhat, but this
most disrespectful nickname
It's
I've ever heard for.
But it's perfect.
Athlete.
It's
so
honestly, it's perfect.
It's like right up there with the rat for Marshawn. Like it's right up
James Cockroach Connor. Call him the cockroach.
Oh my goodness, I love that.
Yeah, man. Connor's going to be on AARP, Medicare, still finishing as an RB2 in fantasy. All right, we're back nearly on the clock. Xavier Worthy, ooh, baby, 93, gets pushed up the board even more. Thomas, you want to take? Oh, never mind. Javante's gone. Sorry, I was going to take your boy, Javante.
Why you got to do this to me?
Looking at the board here, Trey Benson's somebody that I've been drafting pretty heavily, but he's gotten really pushed back up here using the 110s. What do you think, Mark?
So I don't mind continuing to hammer wide receiver even here with the way that this roster is shaping up, because you can still use 4 back half backs. I really like Cortland Sutton after digging into the efficiency metrics this off season. I think in year 2, a little bit more stability with the quarterback. Obviously, he could have some juice there, particularly with Jerry Jeudy out of town. So I like that.
Yeah, we'll take Sutton. I pushed him up the board. Do you want to take another one of these guys too? I kind of like J-Mo or Mike Williams.
Yeah, I do.
Thomas, you want to split the difference on that?
Oh,
this team.
God, it is best ball. Give me Jameson Williams. It is best ball.
Real quick, let's scan through backs. Benson, Eckler, White, Robinson. Nah.
Yeah, nah.
Not in this spot. Yeah, we'll go J-Mo for a 6, man. What a wild team here. We got a 1-1-6-1 build here, but I like this a lot.
Oh,
Sick
yeah.
Receivers. Sick
Like
receivers.
Mahomes, McCaffrey, and Evan Ingram. Like that's all at least top
Very
3
high
for
floor.
expected volume for as
Massively
far as
high floor.
Yeah.
Massively high floor. And then you mix in the fact we got J-Mo, who's like massive wild card. Rasheed's kind of a wild card too. Yeah, like to start a lot here. I guess now the big question is which Broncos quarterback do we take? Russ Fields? Definitely Fields.
Oh,
here.
it's Fields all day, baby.
Yeah.
Fields all day. Mark, you said you were digging into a bunch of theory stuff for OWS. Anything that you particularly really liked from your studies either last year or previous years that kind of comes into play here in these kind of like time boxy style tournaments?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like this $5 war room, man, is going to fill in like tomorrow, probably. Honestly, it's going to fill.
Oh, yeah.
It just launched on Monday. Do you have any thoughts, any theory thoughts on these kind of like just really, really quick, low entry style tournaments?
Yeah, I do. It all comes down to draft window, and you have to look at, and we say draft window, how long that contest is drafting for, and what parts of the year it's drafting for. So a provider like Underdog it has its flagship tournament. Obviously it might be $3 million to first place this year. But these small pocket drafts, these draft windows, I use to balance my portfolio, because the ADP movements and the value-based drafting and stuff like that, where you're looking at cost basis, we'll say, is less pertinent in those, but it matters for your entire portfolio, which the draft window for that is when, you know, for the rookie best balls that were drafted, or for the big boards, little boards, where we've been drafting these for 6 weeks now, something like that, 4 weeks now. That window until the NFL season kicks off, that's a 5-6 month window. So there's going to be a lot of movement within that overall draft window, which is basically our portfolio, what we're comparing our portfolio to. And our portfolio is all the best ball drafts that we do in that time frame. A snapshot contest like this, you're less worried about value. You're less worried about the players that are rising or falling. You're tracking those across your portfolio. So I use these from a theoretical perspective just to simply balance my portfolio. I'm always tracking my exposure. I'm always tracking like who I'm drafting with who. The easiest way to kind of visualize that is like at the 1-2 turn, because those players are remain a lot more steady. They're not as fluid. They're not going to climb and fall as much as you're looking, you know, a rookie who's going undrafted and then jumps into like the 10th round. So that's kind of long answer to that question. I know we're about to be on the clock here, so
I love that.
We'll shelve that.
No, I love that. We'll pick it back up too, because I'm with you on ADP and these kind of smaller time box tournaments. Like, who gives a shit? Just throw it out and try to build optimally, especially around your stacks. Speaking of stacks, we have an opportunity here to get a little T-Law with Ingram. One of the things I like doing in these 20-round drafts, especially these time boxes, is get 3 quarterbacks. But in this team with Mahomes and Lawrence, I think this might actually make sense to be a 2 quarterback build if we want to get stacks here.
I would rather Baker and Evans than Lawrence and Ingram.
You want to take a back?
Ooh, a back.
That's valid. You could Hawkinson is very interesting from a theoretical perspective here too.
Just go bully tight end.
Yeah, but just because of who we have, they both would be considered volume tight ends. So you're less worried about finding a group of 3 at that point. This would be where I would just draft 2 of them.
Yeah, all right.
Agreed.
I took Singletary, and I like your theory on Hawk here, and we can just basically be done with it. Hawk is coming off the torn ACL, more than baked into price.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the hope is he's back by October, and then barring buys, we should have 2 pretty much stud tight ends. For the rest of the way, Vaporware, aka Mr. Tender. What's up, man? I've been drafting big boards since January. I have a problem. Same. Yeah, same.
You better have maxed those out too.
Welcome, bro.
Right? If you're that deep, max them out.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to somebody today who had like literally 100 slows to go through in the little board this morning. So I hope you didn't do that, because that does not sound fun. But welcome. You're in the right place, my friend. Let's pick back up that theory conversation, Hilo, because I do think it really matters, especially for right now. And especially, we're going to be drafting, Best Ball Mania all summer. That, like you said, the windows early especially matter. And then the window leading into draft, like basically mid to late August and September, are like the 2 windows where it seems like ADP is kind of, in terms of value, that's where the most valuable teams are drafted. But in these time boxes, we're going to get a ton of $5 and $3 contests and, 3 entry max from underdogs. And I do think it matters quite a bit to not necessarily be such a slave to ADP in these kind of, smaller field, high entry, style tournaments. Because one, you're treating it like a DFS tournament to begin with. If you're not first, you're last in these types of fields, in my opinion. We're building for upside. And 2, with that in mind, if this war room is only going to be drafted this week, like really, truly, who cares if you didn't get the best ADP value in the 12th round?
Right.
We're looking for upside. That's all that matters. At the end of the day, we're trying to chop this first place 3 ways here, boys. We're not trying to grind out some third place wins or anything. Just cash tickets.
There is one very, very interesting exception that I put out to OWS members last year in the Best Ball Plus package, and that is in these snapshot contests. There is a very, very, very real edge to spreading your portfolio between slow and fast drafts. And what I mean by that is I would draft as many fast as I could, and then in these 150 max contests, like the puppy, the $5 puppy that's 150 max, saving like 50, 75% sometimes for slow drafts when the contest is right at like 75 to 80% full, because now your draft window in that portfolio is spread out months beyond where everybody else is. So you get this, and what that does is it gives you more information, which is kind of king in various parts of the draft windows when these contests are being released. Like the puppy is going to be released maybe right after the NFL draft. The puppy 2 maybe 10 days later. So we're going to not get much more information, but you will get more information by the slow drafts that you enter in the puppy, where now teams are in freaking training camp by the time those are wrapping up. So that is the one exception I'll say to that discussion on the theory of these snapshot contests.
Yeah, love that. Bake Show, man. Great call, Thomas. Yep. We'll take Bake Show first, and then I think it's between one of these two rookie backs. Jalen Wright, Marshawn Lloyd, Ty Chandler is not in the conversation here.
Just taking a random shot here, poor guy.
Nah.
Do you go Mims here? That's the question. To kind of get that team stack in Denver. That's the only question I would throw.
I think they draft another receiver. I'll take Jalen Wright here. We'll get some pass catching upside. It's interesting you said that. Mims just had such a bad rookie season. Like,
yeah,
he was such a Sean Payton guy to begin with. But I think with these guys that are just the shot play guys and not much else, like we've got to like see some sort of growth in their rookie season, and there just never was that for Mims. And we can quibble about Sean Payton being a moron and maybe starting some guys like Brandon Johnson ahead of him who shouldn't have been, but rookie seasons like that are really, really tough to come past, especially where Mims was drafted.
Oh yeah. You want no part of that, really.
Yeah. I think Broncos are, they're in a tough spot draft capital wise. Don't have a ton of premium picks. Yeah. Don't have a ton of premium picks, but I hear you. I kind of want to limit my Broncos exposure to, if I'm going to get one, I'll take one. So we're definitely going to be taking 3 quarterbacks here now that we got Mahomes, Baker. Mark, I don't know how you feel about this. My typical build for these is usually like a 3-6-8-3 or a 3-5-9-3. I typically want to have at least 8 wide receivers. I've gotten weird and drafted some 4 tight end teams. We don't need to on this, but I think 20 rounds. This is not the best year for late round tight ends. Last year felt so much better, but I think this is a year where 4 tight end builds make sense, but not on this team. Do you have any like strict positional outlines that you're drafting from on these 20 round drafts? A little different than the typical 18 rounds.
Yeah, so the short answer is no. And I actually like the 18 rounders better because it forces that decision. You have to have a game plan for it, right?
Yep.
The 20 rounds, and you look at like FFPC, which has like some 28 rounders. The deeper your roster is, the more you can do to hide some flaws as far as roster construction goes. So I like the shallower rosters because it forces that discussion, that internal thought process to be had. Like, where am I allocating? And all of that is fluid, right? Depending on how the first 7-10 rounds shake out, we're not going into a draft saying this is going to be a 3, whatever. But that's where it causes mistakes to be made. So that's why I had that discussion about like slow drafts and the edge that it does create. I can't just completely eliminate fast drafts. Like in the BBM, I did only fast drafts because there is a significant edge to, hey, I have 30 seconds to make a decision here. You put human beings who are already mistake-prone entities into this blender in 30 seconds, and more mistakes are going to be made. So there is an edge in, developing your drafting skills to be able to capitalize on those or not make those. And that's going to affect your expected value over the long run. So I will always have those fast drafts in there. And that's why I prefer doing those in the 18 round drafts, or I prefer doing those where those mistakes are going to be magnified by the field.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great way to put it. It's the mistakes the field is going to make, but it's also it forces me to be a little more concise in how I want to build my teams, because I'm with you. Like I don't necessarily like the fluidity of like, you know, I can probably draft 3 quarterbacks and 3 tight ends onto every team if I want to, but I don't have to, especially on teams where you get, you know, Mahomes early, or you get Lamar early, or you get Allen early. There's just a lot more conditional drafting, I think, that takes place in those 18 rounders as opposed to these where, like you said, you know, if you miss out on your wide receiver 5 or 6 and everybody else is, you know, got theirs 3 or 4 rounds, you know, 3 or 4 rounds ago, you can kind of make up that difference a little bit with the extra roster spots. But yeah, I think maximizing on the mistakes of our opponents is probably the most important one in the 18 rounders. The 2 extra rounds really does matter.
Yeah.
All right, we are nearly back on to the clock.
Hey Ray, we got our 2 tight ends, big homie. Brock Bowers probably would have been a dope pick. We got our 2 tight ends. We're going horde on the tight ends here.
Yeah, going ham on Ingram and Hawk. Brock went at 68.
Yeah,
as a part of a massive receiver build in the mid rounds here for this team. All right. This is where
I don't mind Dowdle here, to be honest, in this build.
Yeah, same here. I've never been an Antonio Gibson guy. Dobbins new.
It's because you know ball, Graham. That's why you're not a Gibson guy.
Good Lord, man, he's gonna get pushed up again, isn't he?
Yes, he already is. Yeah.
I'm just looking for him. Oh, Jalen Poole too. Yeah, all right, we'll take Dowdle here. And then what do you want? This next pick is a little open. What do you think?
Yeah, you could go any position really here.
I will put my hat in for Wandale. I'm
I don't hate it, to be honest. Yeah, I don't hate it.
Okay. Yeah,
he's good when he gets to play.
No, that's a good call. We need that. Yeah. We need a floor because Jameson might have 0 floor, so I like that.
Yeah.
All right, good call.
I think to get, even if Jones is back, Jones can hyper target one guy, and if Waller decides he is done playing football, then
Darren Waller retired last year for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, he Kenny Galladay the Giants.
Yeah, he really did. He got his bag and was like, peace.
Yeah,
both got their money and they're like, I'm good, cuz I'm out.
Yeah. No, thank you.
So Graham, you mentioned the I guess the overall archetype of a ceiling guy like JMO or floor guy like Wandale. How do you approach that, like within a roster? Are you actively hunting for like a good mix of ceiling floor guys, weekly ceiling floor? Okay.
Yeah, especially at receiver. So like I just think those guys that can give you the 8 points like Wandale really, really matter in best ball. Or it's like for season long, my brain has been trained for so long to just like only put guys that have upside on your roster, basically.
Yeah.
Best ball's kind of retrained it to think, okay, you know, the guys that give me like the solid 8 to 12, those are the ones that balance out, especially in a team like this where we really didn't invest premium capital at receiver. I mean, obviously we took 1, 2, and 3, but we didn't take a first one in the first. You know, we took Mahomes in the mid rounds, especially on these types of teams. It's not necessarily a balance. It's more so just like every team is a snowflake, and I'm just trying to find the right piece for that snowflake. Especially when it comes to receivers. Like, if we have a room like this where it's just kind of a shotgun style approach, like especially in the late rounds, I'm looking for floor.
Oh yeah,
because at the end of the day, man, like we're, you know, those guys that can kind of fill into your flex spots, especially on a team like this where we really don't have great running back depth beyond McCaffrey. Those guys that can be your wide receiver 4 or your 3, like Wandale, you know, or Sutton even.
It might be one of the most disgusting running back rooms I've ever seen. Like even in best ball, it's
beautiful.
Pretty.
It's truly beautifully ugly.
It is.
Yeah. So from my theoretical mind, I'll take a stab at the question I asked. in these contests where, so that is it's a different answer depending on the contest, because we're thinking about payout tables, we're thinking about the total number of entries, we're thinking about who do I have to beat, we're thinking about when it was drafted. All that shit matters, right? But to me, like you alluded to earlier, Graham, it is first or bust. Like we are looking to make our season by one roster.
Exactly.
So if you're entering like, oh my God, last season, I think I had 1,200 freaking teams on Underdog alone.
Woo.
If you're drafting like a freaking madman, or even if your portfolio is 150 teams, no matter what it is, we're still looking for that like lightning in a bottle team, right? So to me, and we look at, I guess the best way to reason this thought process is look at like the winner of the BBM last year, like hit on every pick from round 14 to 18. I mean, it was Puka was in there. Yeah, every single pick from those 5
Nico,
rounds.
Tyron, didn't they have Puka too?
Puka too. Yeah. Every single pick in that range was a hit. So in that like blueprint, and that's not going to happen every year, right? Like they're not going to be players like 10 players that hit in the last 5 rounds.
Right.
We'll shelve that. But yeah, kind of to me, I'm upside, man. I'm upside. But I will not argue against the Wandale pick because I think he does still have upside.
Yeah,
from a weekly standpoint.
Yeah, well, when he catches 90 balls, that's upside.
I was gonna say we've seen him had some blow up weeks, so
we're taking
range.
I'm gonna speak for the crew here and take Audric Estime at this pick. Yeah, give us a little bit of touchdown upside, please. Beyond Christian McCaffrey in this running back room. Real quick, boys, what do we think? We got Will Shipley in the queue. Here's the receiver board. I really don't love anybody in this pocket. Besides Shipley, to be honest.
I mean, you don't want to shout out Scott Barrett, who last year would have definitely forced us to take Elijah Moore.
No,
Browns do that.
Browns wide receiver 5, Elijah Moore now. Where is he at on the depth chart? Wide receiver 6 now.
Non-existent.
Yeah, I'm taking the L on Elijah Moore too.
Where is Dortch at right now, man?
Yeah, I saw Rondell there. I was like, wait, where's Dortch?
Yeah, talking about
226, bro. We got a ways to go. We got a ways to go for our guy Dortch. Yeah, dude, he's been. Him and Josh Reynolds have been my 2 guys.
Yeah, dude. It's like FantasyPoints / OWS staples right there. Greg Dortch.
Yeah, man. Josh Reynolds and Greg Dortch are the goats. The 3K DraftKings wide receiver goats as well.
Oh, dude. Get this man some playing time, please, Lord.
Well, I think it might actually have to come this year because they don't have any other bodies. I was drafting Michael Wilson last year. Thomas tried to knock me out of drafting Michael Wilson, which he was right. But my entire theories was like he's a big body receiver and they need
an X.
Well, technically he's a wide receiver 1 right now, so maybe I'm gonna be wearing egg not too long.
Yeah, no, not for another 48 hours. When
I was trying to give you a little bump there, but
knowing the Cardinals though, man. I mean, I'm in Arizona. I don't know that we can assume anything right now.
I have them trading back. I really do.
I think it's possible. I think they would be okay with Neighbors, and if they can trade back and pick up an extra pick, I think they might pull that trigger.
I have them trading back and getting Rome is what is like the last kind of mock exercise I did was Rome. Bindles wants to know what your prediction is at 17.
Oh, baby.
For your boys.
Balky is just the sharpest GM, man. I mean, this guy is just so into.
How about a new franchise quarterback so you guys can win some games?
I'm joking about Balky.
It's going to be somebody fast. That's all I know.
Yeah, bro. We should draft a corner.
Worthy.
We're in the pocket for corner, but I know we're drafting Xavier Worthy.
Yeah, Worthy, baby.
Or literally the highest RAS scoring athlete on the defensive line. It'll be either Xavier Worthy or that guy.
Somebody showed Balky what a Raz card was, and he's like,
Balky's just like he runs a 4-3. I don't care. We want him.
Can't run routes. Don't care.
Yeah, don't care.
Yeah,
you can run one direction,
corner, man. That's where I'm hoping we go. We're in the pocket for corner.
Honestly, that's the thing with the NFL. Everyone can use a corner. Like that's not even like everyone. Everyone needs them.
Yep.
it's a forever position.
There's some truth in that, for sure. But man, Jags, I mean, they have no corner depth right now. I mean, Tyson Campbell getting roasted last year. Shout out to Underdog, not just for the War Room, but for being a sponsor of the show. You can use code FantasyPTS. Right now, new users on Underdog can use code FantasyPTS. We won't. Underdog is matching your deposit up to $100. You can get a standard NFL subscription to FantasyPoints.com for only $5. So it's basically a $155 deal. Get on it now. Code FantasyPTS. First-time depositors get a deposit bonus and a basically free, only $5 Fantasy Points subscription. We just got absolutely goosed by Greg Dortch. Greg Dortch, brutal.
Who's
Johnny
watching?
Wilson.
Yeah,
Who
live
is it?
snipe. Live snipe.
What was the name?
TF5858. I think I've been in a
Banned.
couple rooms with him before, but yeah,
Banned.
ban him, ban his ass. Johnny Wilson is a fine consolation prize, so I'll let him go through on the auto. But where are we thinking on this next pick? We could do a little Bo Nix.
Bindles wants Johnny Wilson.
We got Johnny. Here's Johnny. What are we thinking here?
Can
boys?
I mean, maybe this is like a last round pick, but Donta Foreman on that Cleveland team could be real nice.
Dude, he's going to be
got him and his 7 friends.
Yeah, he's going to be a guy in September.
They love him.
We're gonna, I guess
they do, but I mean the other backs they have outside of Chubb, it's not like Ford's very good. He's a plotter, right? He's lost his job to Hunt, which is really sad, and they signed him off the street to do it. Foreman is just good when he gets the ball, and in that system,
well, I'm
just thinking.
Okay, this guy really might be listening, bro. This is not.
Is that the same guy?
Same, bro. Yeah, same guy, dude.
Banned.
Yeah.
Bindles, is this your alt account?
He's just in here. He's in here.
You know what? Now I hope he gets cut now. There you go. Just because of that.
No, dude. That's
Foreman is rude.
Deontay Foreman's like the 50% cockroach. Like everywhere he goes, he's going to be pretty good. So.
Yeah. I just love the Browns depth chart where it's like they're adding like rows or they're adding columns of the depth chart to like fit all the running backs they have.
Yeah, they're going to draft a few more, have an RB6 and RB7. Yeah, Bindles, thank you, man. I agree. I know the running back room is gross after McCaffrey, but if one of these rookies hits, Singletary, I think, has a decent enough floor as like a 180 carry guy. The receivers are awesome.
I saw a lot out of Singletary that I liked last season, and the primarily of which was his ability to run in a zone read concept, which that's why he was getting playing time over some of the other guys that they had in Houston. But that was interesting to see for sure.
Yeah, Singletary is another one of those guys when we talk about cockroach running backs. He is in a different sense than what Connor is. He isn't just that no matter who your favorite running back is that goes to a team that Singletary is on, it ruins your favorite running back just enough, but yet he doesn't do enough to make you happy and or excited that he's there.
Graham, what are your thoughts on Kendrick Bourne?
Yeah, loved him last year, especially I played a little bit on some other sites that are a little deeper and drafted him a bunch in PPR. Didn't get a bunch of him in Underdog. Coming off the ACL, they just signed KJ Osborne. Yeah, he's okay. I think Reynolds is gonna like actually play though. Like they have nothing else. Like they're gonna draft someone for sure, but I think he's gonna get like legitimate playing time. With these last round receivers, man, I'm really just trying to project out playing time once we get past 100. And then obviously any additional rookies, you're just looking for a little bit of upside with shot play stuff or touchdowns. Jacob Cowing is one of those guys that's kind of like a shot play, a little bit of a separator in the same way Tank Dell is. But I was just looking at running back, man. I like Bigsby a lot as like a free pick here last. I see you shaking your head, Thomas. He just went, but the Jags aren't going to draft a running back.
Yeah.
He'll be there too. They have too much invested in him. He'll get 1 more year as their 2. He stinks. He's stunk the whole time. I'm with you. But
Isaac Orlando is a future Jacksonville Jaguar, and that's the guy. Trust. Fifth round. I shouldn't have said that because now homie's gonna snipe him if he didn't already. Did he go already?
He's not even in the player pool. We just found a snafu and
hashtag too sharp. Fantasy point.
Damn.
Hashtag too sharp.
I feel like I just updated my rankings and I feel like I saw him in there with an ID. So now I'm tripping. Weird. All right, so Josh Reynolds is obviously unless we get goosed, he's our guy here. What any other kind of earmark guys here, Mark? I don't think we should draft another tight end. Let's just roll with Ingram and Hawk.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah.
Go to could you just go to wide receiver?
Yeah.
Scroll the F down.
Whoa, Calvin Austin breakout season, baby.
It's time, baby.
Yeah,
Backdoor really Bo Nix, Josh Reynolds, Cortland Sutton stack for all the money. What? For this team, I really don't have much else, really.
I was drafting a lot of Tim Patrick early last offseason, and then obviously like he was done right when the season starts. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, he might be dust, man. CEH Rice Stack, who says no? Me, Bendels. Me. With that, we're going to take Josh Reynolds and Bendels. Everybody, thanks for hanging out. Again, new first-time depositors on Underdog. You're going to be wanting to get in the best ball mania, the puppy streets. You're going to want to be getting in on that after the NFL draft. So seriously, use code FANTASYPTS. Deposit match up to $100. Get a coupon, $5 fantasy point sub. It's basically 155 free bucks on us. Guys, thanks for hanging. This was a great first draft. We got lucky. We pulled the 101 with McCaffrey. Mark on his first stream brought the good luck. And boys, we did the draft in 52 minutes. An absolutely veteran draft, 20 rounds, 50 minutes. Absolutely good stuff. Mark, thanks for hanging with us. Appreciate you, man. And you'll be back quite a bit this summer on the stream. Any new content you have coming out after the draft that you want to plug here?
I'll be wrapping up the third installment of the coverage Bible. So look for that. We're going to go over just broad coverage shells. So like single high, 2 high, man and zone. So give you guys some good stuff to prepare for the coming season as far as pass catchers go. And then we're going to really dive into the best ball streets heavily, man. So looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thomas, you have basically a 36-hour marathon that you're going to run this weekend. Wait, no, longer than that. It's like 48 hours. You're going to be streaming for nonstop, basically Thursday and Friday and Saturday, right?
Correct. Fantasy Points. We are there for you live with the draft. We did it last year. That was just a preview. This year, it's the whole damn show. We got round 1. We got day 2. We got day 3. We've got live and an after party. We have instant reactions in the after show. We have fantasy implications with a rotating list of fantasy points, content contributors, of course. Second part hosted by Dynasty Points, myself, Lucas, Jacob. We are going to be handling that. And then, of course, Brett Whitefield, Joe Dolan, Scott Barrett with the live reactions live. And don't forget that in just little over an hour, Dynasty Points goes live tonight with the Guru. We're breaking them out for the last 2024 Dynasty rookie mock draft. Myself, Jacob Sanderson, Lucas Gilbert, and the Guru himself, John Hansen. You're going to want to tap in.
Nice, man. Saving the best for last with the Guru. You love to hear it. The call for this weekend, everybody, is to have, NFL Network, ESPN on mute, put the Fantasy Point stream, either, streamcast it. You can have the split screen. You can get a little get a little laptop going. You can have the ESPN or NFL Network there. Put Fantasy Points up on your big screen. We will see you then. Thomas will be on in an hour. We'll be back for the draft, and we'll be back for another Best Ball draft as we kick off Best Ball Mania next week. Till then, good luck, everybody. Have a good weekend.